Well, hello there. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're making some pear placemats. This is a free pattern from American Patchwork and Quilting, but the reason why I jumped into this project was because Jennifer Thomas of Curly Q Creations came out with a signature line with Isla Boutique. She had reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be a part of her blog hop. Of course I do, and I got to pick out which fabrics I wanted to work with, and here is a nice blend of these greens and purples, and I thought that would just be so spectacular with this pattern. So here I'm just trimming up all my little pieces. We're working on a pear block first, and I've got some nice big fussy cut pieces of my butterfly to put in the center of my pear. And you'll see all this come together through a bazillion million snowball blocks. We'll be making those pretty soon. But also with placemats, I got to use a big piece of this butterfly print on the side. So that's going to be really shining soon. So if you're new to snowball piecing, it's where you have a square and you draw a line from corner to corner. You place that square on your next piece and see it doesn't match edge to edge. You have to really pay attention to where you put that little square, and I'll show you some tips and tricks because even for how careful I tried to be, I still had some whoopsie daisies over here. So you just stitch directly on that line from corner to corner. And then this gets taken over to the ironing board, and that gets ironed back into this tidy little flap. So now you have this cute shape. This is the top quarter of the pear coming together, and I never get these perfectly accurate, to be honest. I mean, it looks like I did really good there, but if I had to match these points, I'd struggle. And my first little tip, so these are different size squares that you need to put on these green units. So I'm just showing you, I had to tear out one of my squares and put the right square on that corner and facing the right direction. So I'm just gonna iron it, and if you just do this on its own, I wanted to show that those little needle puncture marks, they really start to melt away. But if you use a little water, just give it a little spritz. I have a misting bottle that I got from a quilting subscription box. Nothing fancy, just enough to get it a little damp. Hit it with the iron again, and those little dots just melt away. It's totally fine. A lot of people see those holes and think there's holes in their fabric, but it's just the little punctures, and it returns back to normal. And I made that correction and I found out that I used the wrong fabric. I used this light green fabric. I was supposed to use this dark green fabric, and I found that out because it's the wrong size. So I had to recut the whole, like those two pieces plus the white squares and redo it all. And now the top row with the stem all fits together. So that's why it's handy to just have a little extra fabric for these kind of incidences. And I don't know, it's just life. Like it doesn't even bother me anymore. And so we're going to continue to snowball. There's a lot of that going on, but these squares aren't too small. They get smaller later. So this is like a good warm up, the way this pattern lays out, how you tackle each unit. And then you saw that I'm using my laser now. I don't even have to mark it if I have my fancy machine. And I've learned, I used to have a hard time using the laser because I couldn't tell the point that's entering the machine first, how to get that perfectly lined up. So now I just start a little further back. That way I'm still seeing the laser beam on that corner, and then I line it up and just sew to the next corner. So that's a lot faster than drawing, even from using tape, because then I can line up my point with the needle and make sure that my other end is lining up. Now you've got all the basics down on the snowballing. You just continue to do that. We're building up this pear block. Got the top done, got the top of the pear, and then last is the bottom with a bunch of little star legs. So the star is built into this pear, and you can pick whatever accent fabric you want. And of course, I picked this really cool purple sparkle fabric from the Butterfly Haven collection. And I couldn't show you sewing this because these are really small squares, and I had to use my whole brain to sew this because you'll see that there's different size green squares. It matters where you put those little star legs, and I really don't want to have to recut things again. So I did it all by myself. Flip that around. And I cut it out correctly and I sewed it correctly. I'm really proud of myself. So there's a lot of pieces. Oh, but I did miscut that one. That was a little short piece. I don't know what happened. My fabric wasn't lined up when I was trimming out that size. So I did have to recut that square. uh, it was life. So I'm coping with it very well. All right, so we have this pear shape, but you'll see that we sew the center unit together and then add one more set of squares to the side. Yes, the final snowballs go there, and that completes the pear shape. So then we get to head over, piece this all together. We just have the side panel of the placemat to get attached. Pick your favorite big fun print. And you see in the corner here, I'm wearing my robe. I'm doing this late at night, but it is done. That is the whole placemat top. The pattern tells you all the requirements for one. I made two here, so make sure you keep that in mind. I picked this cool mint color from Haben Dash Glide Thread in the 40 weight. I really thought that I would want white or blue, but this mint green ended up really working well. So we're going to quilt this on the sit down long arm machine. And I got my new ruler. This is the A1 ruler from Green Fairy Quilting is where I purchased it. And I didn't think the color was going to be that special, but it actually helps a lot with your reference lines so that you can see what you're lining up on the ruler versus what is the seam on your piecing. I don't know that like I really wasn't into this bright neon yellow color. It looks cool, but it's actually also functional. So on the placemat panel side, I'm doing a crosshatch. And let me just tell you, this lighting is about to get so much better. I'm really proud of myself how I figured out how to film this. Look at this. Look how bright it is. Oh, I have been working on this for months on how to film these details and nice lighting because it's always dark. So sorry, this is about you learning how to quilt this, not my fumbling with camera. But you'll see that just up close, I'm using all of my 1 inch reference points. 1 inch was felt really good. Um, and I didn't have to worry about this ruler slipping because it has this grip on the side. It actually stayed in place really well. So just, even though it wasn't long enough, this is the 9 inch ruler. I think it comes in bigger sizes, but 9 inch is enough to fit over most of the panel. And then you just slide it up and continue on. Not a big deal. And I'm doing lots of stitching in the ditch on the side to travel to that next line. And sometimes I do a little wiggle and it's not very in the ditch. It kind of, what we call in the long arm industry is a drunkard's path. But I'm just doing that from corner to corner, and it's really just therapeutic to be moving along. Okay, so on to the next piece. Off camera, I did a 1/4 inch line around the pear just so that it pops up. I did a stitch in the ditch through the pear, through all its seams and over the star. And now I'm just gonna do filler on the outside of the pear. I chose a meandering swirl and hook pattern. And oh, you see this nice bright view. And I'm just traveling along and filling in little gaps. I'm in a manual mode at I think 400 stitches per second or whatever that metric is. It says 400 on my screen. And you'll see here that I'm just going into every nook and cranny. And then I do sort of a not too many sharp hooks. And I got this like little wiggle right there. I just did it and that looks weird compared to everything else. So then I just started connecting to it. Like I echoed and these swirls are connecting to that one awkward little flange there that I put. So that's just one way to fix. If you have some sort of awkward stitching, just kind of connect around it, echo away from it, and the eye will flow where you want it to go. So that is just filling in all these pieces. I'm using my foot. This is the ruler foot that I was using the ruler on, but I still keep it on because I like it for spacing. And from where I'm sitting, I can see fine. And look at this beautiful stitching, how it just really accentuates this pear piecing. And I have my fussy cut butterfly, and it just really complements this pattern well. Taking outside so you can see more of the fabric color and less of the stitching. And I use this darker pink on the outside, the same as what I used for the back, that binding. And then I wanted to show that it's Christmas time here and pears and Christmas really go together well. I think my table looks so cute with these pear placemats. Oh, just holiday fun. I mean, it's like a spring line and a spring pattern, but look at the Christmas feels here.